Hello, everybody. Mariner here. If you're in the chat, you'll know someone's a little bit late this morning across in Phoenix, Arizona. So we can all abuse him when he appears in a minute or two. But anyway, this is Net That Haul. I'm FPL Mariner. And if you're here to find out what to do in Gameweek 7, switch off now, because I have no idea. I generally haven't. No, I'm joking. We're going to try and make some sense out of it. So whilst Gabe's just coming in, we'll just do the usual bits and bobs. So yeah, first things first, we're very close to 1,500 subscribers, and that means that Nima's going to have to do a forfeit, and it's going to be Ali G apparently, and we have a round table next Friday night in the UK, which will be Saturday morning in Singapore in the middle of the international break, where all four of us are on. So you'll enjoy that. And I'm sure. And during that, we want Nima to be already dressed as Ali G. So we want those subscribers before next Friday. So I think we're at 1407. So we want 93 more. So please go to there, hit subscribe, hit that like button, smash that like button. We want as many subscribers as we can. And here comes Lens. Mate.
What's up?
We're live.
Already?
Yeah, I told you we were. I told you in WhatsApp we're already live.
But you still have your pajamas on, Mariner.
This is a Bayern Munich sort of training top.
Oh, it looks like a onesie. Looks like a onesie I bought my kid when he was 2.
It might be. The trouble is, I bought it 2 weeks ago, and since I got back, I haven't had a drink, and now I've already lost weight, and it's too big.
That sounds like a problem indeed. You gotta get drinking again, Mariner.
Oh dear.
Apologies for my tardiness. Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late.
Don't worry about that. That's absolutely fine. Right, I was just doing the usual bits and bobs. Pod-wise, I think we're nearly at 7,000 downloads, by the way, so that's very good. Mini League, I think we'll announce the Mini League in the international break. I think we'll have a bit of a run through that there, but it's still open, FG1XMB. I think Nima's been going out there and trying to press down as many high-ranked people as possible. So I'm not quite sure what that's going to do to some of our regulars. But anyway, Nima, you can answer those questions next week. Prizes-wise, we've got that first prize, which is a box from Shirt Loot Box. We've got Matt Whelan's book at FPL Obsessed. And we've got a Fantasy Football Fix subscription for 1 year. So take on, who's in there? Big Man, Bakar, Tom, Gabe, Nima, who had a red arrow just like me. First one of the year. And yeah, let's see how we do. So Gabe, just before I'm just going to let you just have chance just to settle in. And then I'll bring you in, and you can do your philosophy and things.
I mean, doing the hard philosophy at 5:30 in the morning, Mariner, is a form of torture. I think in Greece.
Yes, I think you're right. Anyway, who we got here? We've got Astrolicious, we've got Simeon here, we've got Donny, we've got Asa, we've got Pavan. We've got Ramanthan, we've got Rob A, we've got Bungle. Who else is here? Kieran's here. Hello, Kieran. He wants some help this week. I have no clue what to do. I'm going to need some help. So I think you missed me saying already today. Don't ask me for any help because I'm Mr. Indecisive this week. Mike Halpin's here. Hope you're all right, Mike. I saw your tweet earlier on. I don't know if it's a hangover. If it is, then that's fair enough. Sushet's here. Hello. And Masha's here. It's like, wow, since you've been in, Masha. Hello. How are you doing? So, Gabe, we have the philosophy, which I will put up onto the screen. And there's we've not bothered with anything else so far. So let's start with the graphics. So we'll put your philosophy up. And what does the bloke sat on the toilet, for the benefit of pastors, have to say today? He sat on the toilet with his sort of like his head in his hands. That's how I felt on Saturday evening after that monstrous Saturday for FPL for me. I don't think I've ever had one as bad. But what's your philosophy for the week, sir?
So our philosophy for the week this week comes from William Blake from his collection Auguries of Innocence, and the poem is called Joy. And then the one line I wanted to focus on in it is, joy and woe are woven fine. It's the first line of the poem, and I thought it was quite apt for FPL as so the fabric of our FPL season, right, is comprised of interconnected threads of joys and sorrows. Usually we see and feel the sorrows and we remember them much more than the joys, but this is not psychology of the week, this is philosophy of the week, so I'll stick to that.
As well, P. I mean, to be quite honest, I need to shrink after this week.
Well, yeah, so it's comprised of interconnected threads of joys and sorrows. So my note is, do not think for one moment that any of these threads is independent of any other. The highs you experience this season and will experience this season are thanks to the lows you experience and will experience this season. So just to recognize that the entire tapestry of the experience. And then I'll just end with the final three lines of the poem, which I find just a good parting words. And the final three lines go, we were made for joy and woe, and when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. That's
and with that, everybody, I'm off to play my Wildcard. And oh my God, this is heavy, man. I can't even work this out. I think I could probably sort of like associate it with, you know, we were so close to so many points this week just gone. I think that's probably how I'd describe it. Benrahma and Antonio could both have had two returns, and I think in the first 15 minutes. You know, Greenwood. What's he doing? He's turned into Watkins without the wood.
I think that's Bruno.
Well, there is that. And as for that, I did actually tweet out that people should look to the northwest at dawn in Singapore and might see Bruno's ball circular, orbiting the Earth. That was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
But I think to add to that, yeah, there are weeks where things go that way, right? And then there are other weeks where we took a risk and we brought a player in and fucking Freddie Woodman spills two balls and gifts that player 2 goals. Or
now this is just salty.
No. Just an example. It could be there were several like last minute goals I think last week that benefited a lot of people, right? So
you're right.
The same things that we lament one week are the things that we celebrate the next week. So if we take a broader lens and see that they're actually woven, that it's the one tapestry.
Yeah,
that would be.
I went from woe to joy when Fernandes got that penalty, because of course I was captaining Ronaldo and I was thinking, I've got away with this unless he misses it. And out the corner of the picture, I saw Fernandes with the ball. And I was ranting. I was going absolutely wild. The missus was going, what's up with you? I said, bloody Bruno's got the ball, for Christ's sake. And with that, I just sort of like stormed around the room for about 30 seconds. And with that, I saw the ball disappear over the ball. Yes.
And then on the flip side, you have imagine what the Maupay owners felt when Guaita gave them gifted them that goal, So it's all part of the long season.
I don't think there's many of those though. But anyway, fabulous. Right, what we're going to do, just to let you know, matchups wise, we're a bit thin on the ground this week, aren't we? Because we've been a bit busy with things. So what we're going to do actually is there's been a few questions in Twitter about punts. So there's a lot of people, I think, planning on wildcarding next week. I think there's quite a few people bringing that forward personally. Me possibly one of them if I flake between now and deadline. But we've got some punts which I think you're going to have a look at, and you're going to introduce something new to us a little bit later. So matchups wise, I think we're just going to dive into my stuff, and then you can just come in with the usual bits and bobs. But there isn't a special section for you this week. So there's more time, hopefully, for Q&As. So let's dive in and see what is actually happening in the world of matchups and the engine room. But first things first, we have to see how we did last week. And that won't take very long.
Let's fight through that one.
Right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. How long is this going to take? 10 minutes 50 in. Here we go. Right. Predicted goals, Liverpool. Right. Yes, we got that one right.
Got that one right.
Oh, we got right. The Alchemist. Well, yeah, he needs a spell casting on him more like. Ooh. Right, okay. Next, Mane didn't do the business. Guess what? West Ham didn't do the business against Leeds with 2.5 goals. Manchester United, we know, didn't do the necessary against Aston Villa, and they were poor from my side. Although Greenwood could have had about 4. Enough said about that. Palace, clean sheet.
There you go.
Crying out loud. I mean, 95th minute. What are you doing to me? And then, as Hibbo came up with in the Compass show, he got bloody booked. Sanchez he got a bonus point. They got booked for crying out loud. So anyway, yeah.
So I have a question about that booking.
Hang on, we're coming back. Trap of the week, no good. Bye bye. See you next. Even blooming Brodge did me this week. But here we go. This is where we weren't far wrong. All right. The defensive hauls of the week. We opposed Liverpool defence. We were right to oppose Liverpool defence. We opposed Everton attack, as in a defensive attack. We were right. There was no double return. We opposed Leicester attack. There was no double return. And there was no clean sheet. And we opposed Manchester United defence. Well, hardly surprising because Luke Shaw was playing. Enough said about that as well. Well, he was for a while till he got substituted. But who did haul? Well, Sarr from Wolves, 15 points. Hawes from Aston Villa, 15 points. And Cancelo, 12 points. That was it. They were the haulers. Right, what was your question?
So my question was about the yellow card. The yellow card came after regulation, right?
Yeah.
So how does that? I thought we get points for what happens within the match.
Well, Bruno scored a goal outside of a match last year.
But the match was still going on. The final whistle had not been blown. The fact that it was a past time was just a technicality.
It's one of those things. As a Sanchez owner, I'm just so used to disappointment.
I feel like the FPL lawyer here. I feel like we deserve that point.
I'm not disappointed in him. I'm probably bringing Ramsdale in him in Wildcard. That's how disappointed I am with him. And I know how much you think of him.
It's almost his second assist. Sanchez has almost had 2 assists.
Yeah, you watch him get one when I sell him. Anyway,
he's not going to get one.
So anyway, that was last week, so we didn't do too well. Let's have a look at the fixture difficulty updated after game week 6 and see what's happening. So what's happening again, as we've said, is we take quite a chunk of data. We take a little bit from 1920 season when there was fans. We're taking last season. We're also taking a very small chunk of the end of last season as well, but that's now thinning down because we've got more data, actually more relevant data starting to come in. So what have we got with respect to the numbers for the podcast? And of course, if you're watching it, green's good, red's bad, naught's good, 7's bad. And for attack at home, surprise, surprise, City are top 0.9, Liverpool 1.1. Standout 2 teams there, Gabe. Manchester United now 2.4, Chelsea 2.9. Not very good at all, albeit they've had some quite tough fixtures recently. And Everton 3. And at the bottom, reading up, Norwich 4.2, Southampton 4.2, Palace, Arsenal, Wolves all 4.1. Brentford are now out of the bottom 5, even after the Liverpool fixture. They really are becoming Sheffield United, who can score goals. Right. With respect to the variants, and this is like the form, the better teams at the moment, Manchester United, probably Ronaldo, although so we certainly didn't see it last week, and Brentford are the two standouts with respect to. And Brentford, of course, that's more like where we thought they were going to land compared to where they actually have landed. So I wouldn't necessarily say that's form. That's probably a bit of balancing out. And worse, and this is really surprising, 3.2 negative Chelsea. They're ranked 18th at home for XG, 0.9 per 90. 12th for big chances, 1 per 90. They played City, Villa, and Palace. I can't quite work that one out. Spurs, on the other hand, I can work out. They're 18th for big chances with 0.67 per 90 and the 17th for XG at 1 per 90, and they're negative 2.9. So Chelsea are not in form.
I think what I will say about Chelsea is I think Villa are better than we think we are, or certainly than I thought they were going into the season. I think Villa are coming together, so their fixtures haven't been great. What I'd also say is Mendy is covering for a lot of that statistical drop. So their XGC is higher, chances conceded is higher. But Mendy is really showing his mettle and coming up with the saves. So they're still I think there's still a solid defense, and with those fixtures turning, I expect that variance to turn green.
I think solid defensively, but I do struggle to work out. I mean, Lukaku's clearly a fabulous player, but he's not getting as much service and as perhaps we might thought he was going to get. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this week. I mean, this is one of the biggest conundrums I think we've all got, is the Ronaldo and Lukaku conundrum. But that is the first thing which says to me, I might be able to hide behind the sofa and oppose Lukaku. That's the first thing which I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Might. No, it said might. Right. The next thing, away from home, Liverpool now stand.
One more thing on the home here. I wanted to mention Norwich. They're still bottom, obviously. It looks like their variance is slightly improving, but is that just because they couldn't really get much worse? That's not hope, is it?
I mean, the numbers aren't that bad, but they're just not very good. And I think what you can see from these numbers, the lowest attacking FDR at home is 4.2, and that's a fans effect, in my opinion. I think that's a fans effect. Whereas away, the lowest is 4.9.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's something we see there. But yeah, you're right. Norwich are not very good. But remember, Norwich are landing from a point where we didn't really know where they were going to start either. So take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But I think it's fair to say Norwich are the worst team in the league. There we go.
Right.
Called it.
Just a comment here from Ramanathan. He says that Lukaku needs Ziyech for those deliveries, and I think he's onto something. But at least in terms of Reece James, I think that the team is sorely missing those deliveries from the right side of the field, more than anything. But these fixtures, Lukaku is going to destroy these smaller teams, these easier fixtures. It's going to be great.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? But he's got to get the service to be able to destroy it.
Yeah.
So that's my point. I'm not saying he's gonna blank. Far from it. I'm going to come up with some counter arguments later on. But at the same time, I think you've got to look at it from a perspective of those numbers are not too great.
Yeah.
But you make of those as you wish, haulers. Attack away, Liverpool are standout at 0.7. Then we've got Chelsea 2.2, City 2.4, West Ham 2.4, United 2.8. Quite noticeable. Liverpool are just tearing it up this season. with respect to things that my metrics like, which things like big chances and shots in the box and XG. Bottom reading up, Norwich, bottom 4.9. Even Burnley can keep a clean sheet this week, maybe. Watford 4.3, Brighton 4.3, Arsenal 4.3, Palace 4.2. Quite tight there. What's improving? Well, Wolves are improving. So Jiminez scoring now. Has he translated fart to poo after last week?
Has he translated fart to poo?
Maybe he's on solid.
Maybe he came up with a saying, if there's smell, then there's something there.
That's vile.
You're translating fart to poo for crying out loud.
Can't say things like that. Three big chances for 90 for Wolves with an XG of 1.7 away from home. Sixth. And they're improving. Liverpool, they're just getting better and better and better. They showed how it meant to be done at Brentford, didn't they? 5 big chances, an XG of 2.6. Liverpool just show how it's done. Trouble is, these goals get spread around a bit too much for my liking. Overall, 2.8 XG per 90 and 4.33 big chances per 90 for Liverpool. Ridiculous numbers. And Leicester, 2.2, worse. becoming my target team.
The evil laugh.
Yeah, the evil laugh start. I've given up on Arsenal because they're improving. 18th XG with 0.9 per 90. And 18th for big chances at 1.33 per 90. But Arsenal are still there. They're still bottom. 20th for XG per 90 away. That's because they were away last week, at home to be last week, to be fair. So we've got to be a bit reasonable with them. But 20th for XG at 0.4 and 20th for big chances at 0.33. Brighton, good defence. That doesn't bear well. That doesn't stack up well for me. But Arsenal are improving.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. Home and away. We did the home and away thing when we're talking about whether teams, the rankings sort of like stack up home and away. Attack and defence is about the same, actually. Average of 2.1 each. So no real defence percentage drop for attack compared to defence. But, home and away, I should say. But saying that, Liverpool stand out, which might skew the numbers. I'm just going to move across to defence, and then what we'll do is we'll have a quick look through if there's any questions relating to any of these points, Gabe, if you want to just check out. But defensively, Manchester City at home are top, 1.7. Brighton second, 2. As I said, doesn't necessarily sound great for Arsenal this week. Chelsea 2.3. That sounds hopeful. Manchester United 2.9 and Palace 3. Palace 3, still there. Only a last-minute goal conceded. Maybe that isn't a flash in the pan. Maybe they really are the real thing at home. Bottom for home defence. Poor old Norwich just keep landing at the bottom, don't they? 5.3. Newcastle 4.9. Brentford 4.5. Watford 4.4. And Leeds 4.3. So there you're whipping boys. And with respect to whether teams are getting better or worse, and that's the variance again, you'll see from the slides that Manchester City have conceded 0.2 XG per 90 at home. They have not conceded a big chance yet at home. Right. And Crystal Palace have an expected goals conceded of 0.7 per 90. And they're only conceding 0.67 big chances per 90, and that's second best. So that's really quite noticeable now. And then at the worst, at the wrong end of the spectrum, shall we say, with respect to form, and here we go, Newcastle, 20th. Okay, 2 point negative, so the worst by 2.5, 20th for big chances, 3.67 per 90 at home, 20th for expected goals conceded, 2.8 at home. Leeds, 17th for big chances, 3 per match, and 19th for expected goals conceded at 2.5. They are both teams to target, in my opinion, home and away. I would say now. Away from home, surprise, surprise, City top 2, Chelsea 2.6, Everton 2.9, Wolves 3, Arsenal 3.2, and at the bottom, a gaggle of teams on 4.3, Leeds, Norwich, Palace, and Southampton, and Burnley 4.4. So, early days, but let's see what's happening again with the variants. And Wolves have not conceded a big chance away from home in 3 games, and they're only conceding 0.8 per 90 XG. And West Ham, it's surprising actually, West Ham have only conceded 0.67 big chances per 90 and 1 expected goals conceded. I thought they were a bit leakier than that till I saw that data. Maybe I was wrong with them.
Do you have the maybe you have the Leeds match in your head?
Yeah, possibly.
Where it was kind of like back and forth. It's quite open.
I didn't think that, because I mean, again, remember I'm a former Kufal owner, and I didn't keep him very long because I didn't fancy him to keep clean sheets. I was worried sick last week, and I was proved right, thankfully. Good old Rafinha. Arsenal, we could talk about teams who are getting worse. Arsenal, 2.7 big chances per 90. They're still 17th with respect to expected goals conceded as well. And Spurs now, another team who I quite fancy targeting a bit for some mirth in the coming weeks. 2.33 big chances per 90 and 17th with respect to expected goals conceded. There we go.
Basically, the Arsenal fans, which is half the chat, is calling for the evil laugh
catalyst. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
has to go to Tottenham now.
I think we have to nail them these days, don't we? But
I think so.
This is an interesting thing. Defensively, Gabe, home and away, top 5 at home, average 2.38. Top 5 away, 2.74. 15% now. So there's still a 15%. So defenses are better at home. That's what we're now starting to see. Whereas attacks seem to be about the same at the moment. We'll see how it goes.
But if we look at the variance, defenses are actually improving away, and more so, or at least at the top. Yeah, no, I feel like defenses are improving more away than they are at home.
And interesting enough, there's a lot more. I'm just looking. I've just moved back. Actually, there's quite a bit more red on attack than defense at this moment.
Yes,
it looks like the defenses are starting to get their acts in order a little bit. And does that bring us to the fact that maybe that 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, which I have been championing up till now, that structure might be due a change? I would argue it possibly is, given the likes of City's and Chelsea's fixtures.
Yeah, we started the season with the FDRs really not liking defenses in general, and now it's interesting because there is, at least in the FPL Twitter community, there's this swing to bigger at the back, 4 defenders, and it looks like the numbers are backing that popular opinion. So
I think
kudos to the community.
We need Shomon. Shomon's probably spent about 85 million in defense.
Shom's probably going the other way now. he's going skinny at the back.
Super skinny at the back. Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, fixture difficulty. Now we're starting to stretch the fixture difficulties out. Now I've started to increase the weeks again. But looking between game week 7 and 13. Okay. Who's best? Well, it's the old saying, but no shit, Sherlock. It's Liverpool, 2.5, City 1.7, and Chelsea 1.6. It's seriously getting polarized. Look at the greens just jumping off the page for those. Certainly not for Manchester United in the next 5 or 6 game weeks. That is a fact. But then they get green. And then there is a swing for Manchester United around game week 14, which is actually included now. Defensively wise, we've got between game week 7 and 13, we've got Chelsea, we've got City standouts, and then lagging, and I say lagging with the others, Brighton at 0.7. So I think you're talking. I started with 3 Manchester United players and 3 Liverpool players. I expect that I will have 3 Chelsea players and 3 Manchester City players when I wildcard either this week or next week. I hope I can hold out to next week, but that just tells me I want 3 of each. What do you think, Gabe?
3 Manchester United. Oh, sorry, 3 Manchester City and 3 Chelsea. I think that's the easy decision in the equation.
The issue is which 3.
Well, the issue is which 3 and Liverpool, because Liverpool are maybe the team in the best attacking form.
Yeah,
and their fixtures are solid green, basically throughout until for quite some time. I think they're comparable, right?
They are. The problem I've got is that I'm very happy with Salah. He's going nowhere.
Sure.
The issue I've got is Jota. He's returning every other game. I listened to Always Cheating this week, and they had a good chat about Jota, and I thought it was really interesting. Saying, look, don't expect too much from the guy. He's returning every other game. But what we've got in the back of our mind is it's Liverpool. And he should probably be, why isn't he returning more? And then the next problem is he's not even going to be on the pitch all the time because Firmino's coming back now. I could see why I had Jota in because Firmino wasn't there. I'm not going to go to Mane, even though I love him as an FPL asset, but I'm not going there because I can't afford other premium players if I go for Mane. So who else have you got? So, of course, Trent's injured. So Trent is an important consideration. I think going without Trent's dangerous. Therefore, 3 and 3 maybe won't work, but it'll certainly start. I may well bring Trent back. But for me, Liverpool are Mo Salah, and that's it now. Attacking. So I think Liverpool are probably a 2. I'd probably say. So you could end up with 2 Liverpool. Let's say 2 Liverpool, 2 Chelsea, 3 City.
But it's also like you should. I mean, given those 2 Liverpool players, you should probably always have 2, right?
Probably always those 2.
Yeah.
Maybe Robertson. Maybe you could argue perhaps Robertson, but the problem I've got with that is that I would want Trent because I think, and I'm not sure I could spend 14 million on Liverpool's defence.
I mean, Robertson for 7 or Cancelo for 6.1. It's a no-brainer, right? They're not attacking as much from the left-hand side. The other thing that's really standing out to me is really how hard for those thinking of avoiding Lukaku and sticking with Ronaldo because it's Ronaldo. It's according to the FDR, it's about 3 times better fixtures for Chelsea, for City, and for Liverpool. So the fixture difference between those is quite large.
It is stark.
Yeah,
it's stark, and I think that's the thing which is swinging it for me. But this is why I've included game week 14 to 16 in this graphic, because I know some people have. I've heard some little inklings of people saying, I'm going to try and hold out to game week 14 and wildcard around then. So there we go. Manchester United swing back considerably, favourably at game week 14. So do Spurs, actually. But I'm not sure anybody's going to go anywhere near them. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, Liverpool, City and Chelsea have solid matchups all the way through this period.
Yeah. And which I think this is kind of where we're getting into the minds of the 3 premium crowd, right? They're looking at these matchups. They're pretty good throughout. If you don't want to worry about how do I get, from Lukaku up to Ronaldo, and do I get rid of Lukaku after he just scored a friggin' hat trick in these easy matchups, you can see, like, just looking at the greens there, that you can identify the 3 premiums that you just want to stick in your team forever, right? And you might want to change maybe Ronaldo to a City premium. Maybe De Bruyne or even Grealish might suffice for the short term.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, again, it's a little bit confusing regarding City. I've heard people talking about De Bruyne for next week, for game week 8, I should say. Mm-hmm. And, providing we know he's playing, I think that's an excellent shout, actually.
Yeah.
Really excellent shout. The issue is he? And we all know what happens. I mean, I love the idea of Grealish. At the moment, my wildcard drafts, a lot of them have had Grealish in. But my concern is, am I going to go into orbit if I own an 8 million Grealish and then he's not even in the side? It's always possible. But anyway, that's where we are with the fixture difficulty. So I hope that's pretty useful to everybody. It's certainly starting to polarize my thought process. That's one thing I would say. And this is another thing which I always like, and we like this, which is the zonal matchups. So where are we looking at now? So, okay, so let's say Arsenal are playing Brighton this week. So how many chances do Arsenal create down their right? And how many chances do Brighton concede down their left? We then average it. So that should be 4 chances per 90 minutes. That's how that works. You'll see that on the graph. So who's got the best matchups this week? So, okay. Manchester City left against Liverpool. I'd be amazed if that's 0-0. I would be amazed. You know what I think about Liverpool's defence, don't you? I don't buy that they're great. I just don't buy it. I've been saying it for a year and a half. I just don't buy it that they're great. Who's going to be there? Down City's left. Cancelo again, maybe, eh?
Could be. Well, the interesting thing about Cancelo when he plays on the left is he doesn't get. I mean, sure, he had that. He almost scored that goal initially, right?
He hugs, doesn't he? If I remember, he hugs the touchline more on the left and cuts in from the right. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, he'll hug the touchline and then he'll start kind of coming in, but then he runs into Grealish, and Grealish is such a presence on that left-hand side. Grealish doesn't really. He receives the ball wide, so he doesn't move inside to open up space for Cancelo to come in. So I think this matchup would probably favor Grealish more than Cancelo. Okay. I say that as a Cancelo owner. It's still nice to see, obviously.
No, it's interesting because I mean, again, if I do hit the button, and I've already said I'm thinking about wildcarding. If I did hit the button, Grealish might be one of those players who I might bring in. I'm not going to bench Grealish if I bring him in. So that might give me a little bit of hope there as well, perhaps. I'm not sure. Manchester United's left as well, 4.2. Pogba. But no Shaw right now at this moment, or possibly no Shaw. Although I'm not sure that makes a big I'm not sure, pardon the pun, that makes much of a difference at the moment, the way he's been playing. I think he's due a rest, a proper rest. But maybe Pogba and Arsenal on the left as well against Brighton. 4. So, again, Brighton aren't necessarily tearing trees up attacking wise, are they? Could that be somewhere where you might see if you get an attacking haul from a Tierney of this world and say an attacking return from a Tierney of this world and then back it up with a clean sheet. I think it's possible.
Well, I don't know. I think Brighton is. I think this 4 from the left, and it's actually 4.1 from the center. Arsenal, obviously, Saka's playing on the left. Aubameyang has been playing in the middle. It seems like a good matchup for them, but I think the reason this is happening is not because Brighton concede from those areas, but it's because Arsenal are so their attack is so kind of lopsided to that side, to the center and the left, that they create so many of their chances from that side that it actually makes them predictable. So in this case, I'd say this left center matchup against Brighton is misleading.
Okay.
Just to give some numbers, so to show that that matchup is really created by the chances that Arsenal create rather than the chances that Brighton concede.
Right.
Arsenal have created 28 chances. 28 chances from the left, compared to 13 chances from the right.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah. So let's see. Anyway, but as I say, I just wrote down just in my notes, like, because of course, I like these defensive haulers. That's always my thing, which I always try to hunt for. So I quite like the idea of Tierney, but okay, you've maybe just poo-pooed that one. Maybe I'm going back. Well, we're talking about the next player we're on about is Jiminez. In the centre, Wolves have the best matchup of the week against Newcastle. 4.8. Look how green that is. That's really hopeful.
It's very green.
I have to say, I was delighted when he scored last week. It was the for me, in a really miserable game week, that was the best thing for me. I think, as a football fan, I don't think anybody, barring the opposition's fans, could have begrudged him it. After that injury. Yeah,
and it was such a. Well, what I loved about it is that it was such a spectacular goal because it involved so many different types of things. First he had to hold off Bednarek while the ball's in the air because Zaha had punted it, right? It was a line drive punt. He holds off Bednarek, he's no Mickey Mouse, this Bednarek, right? He's a big, strong guy. So he holds off Bednarek, then he speeds past him, so there's the strength. Then he speeds past him, there's the speed. Then he has a deft little touch to, like, I forget which defender's coming in, where he goes past the one defender. Then Bednarek gets back and slides, and he just steps back, lets Bednarek slide past him, and it's just a cool finish. It's like every skill required of a striker was used in that goal. It had to have been so satisfying.
Absolutely. Well, he's a great shout for this week. So anyone who's thinking about wildcarding this week, and you can get to him, or if you're looking for a little punt, we might be talking about this a little bit later, but Jiminez, to me, looks a great shout. Another player who looks quite interesting is possibly Dennis, or anyone playing down the middle for Watford, because they also have a good matchup this week. 4.5 away at Leeds.
Yeah, it's good across the board, though, isn't it?
Well, it's hardly surprising, but yeah, it is. And also, and maybe a little bit of hope for Ronaldo owners who cannot get to Lukaku. Manchester United's matchup down the centre against Everton is also favourable at 4.4.
So that I wanted to, let's see, hold on. I just wanted to question that one a little bit.
That's all right.
Everton, chances conceded down the left, 16. Chances conceded down the right, 20. Chances conceded down the center, 19. Now, Manchester United, chances created, center zone, 34. And that's probably why it's high compared to chances created on the left, 30, which is similar. Chances created on the right, 22. So again, I think it's a function of the chances created, not the chances conceded. So when you look at the matchup, you have to ask yourself, why is this matchup green? Is it because that's where a lot of the chances have been created from? And then you have to look at the previous matchups. Did they have easy matchups to create that number of chances?
I really like that perspective, because that's a great way of looking at it. Of course, what we do is we average it to try and give us a feeling of where it might go.
Right.
You can't add them together. You've got to average it. It's the only way. And I think when we look at the fixtures a little bit later, I think you might see why what you've just said is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I think you'll see that in a second. Very quickly, I'm just a bit mindful of time. Long range. So that's between game week 8 and 13. On the left, City, Liverpool, and Manchester United. 4.2, 4.1, 4.1. There you go, Cancelo. Or, again, straight in as far as I'm concerned. But we might not leave Liverpool's left, because when we look down a little bit further, Liverpool's right, 5.3. So even greener. So there we go. You've got Salah haunting teams on the right-hand side, and you've got Trent as well. So that's very positive from the right-hand side with respect to Liverpool. Wolves, 4.7. Is this Mr. Oily? Is the oily man going to finally deliver something down the right between game week 8 and 13? I don't know why he puts oil on. I can't understand it. Enough said. I don't want to get into that conversation. I see people have been talking about oil in the chat as well.
I mean, if you think about it, I think it's genius. You have this monster of a human being, right?
You try to hang on to him, you just slip off him.
Well, because the only way to stop him is to try to grab him or grapple him or something. But imagine this greasy monster just coming at you. You don't want anything to do with him. You just want to get away from this freak.
Greasy monster. The grease monster.
It's the grease monster.
We'll call him the grease monster from now.
So, okay. I think it's smart.
And jumping down the middle, in the centre, the one thing going for Manchester United and Ronaldo during this period is the fact they've got reasonable matchups down the middle. That's just because they're creating so many chances. Will they still be creating that many chances after this run of fixtures remains to be seen. Southampton, 4.3. Could this be the Armstrong time? As a Tony owner, it's not going to be the Armstrong time for me. I'm sticking well and truly on Tony. I'm going nowhere. And down the middle as well, Arsenal, 4.1. Is it time for Aubameyang? What's your view on Aubameyang? Are we starting to see some green shoots of recovery from him?
I mean, I think that's the case for Arsenal in general, right? And I don't know. I mean, I have my eye on him. I still don't trust Arsenal yet. I do want to see some consistency. Well, what I want to see is like some just tactical consistency where they're trying to do the same things over a period of time, so I can see what is really what can we expect from Aubameyang, because I have no idea what to expect from Aubameyang. I don't know if you do. Like, I know roughly what to expect from Tierney, maybe the defenders. The attackers, I'm much less certain of.
We need some Arsenal fans to comment about it, but I mean,
no, stop! Don't do that.
If Lacazette's not playing,
Arsenal fans,
hear me out. If Lacazette is not playing, right, he is cheap for what he can return. If he's down that middle,
it's the opportunity cost. So if you're going with Aubameyang, you're almost certainly not going with Cristiano. So you're not in the free premium camp. And are you fading Antonio? You don't want to go with Aubameyang instead of Antonio. You probably get Aubameyang and Antonio. So it does affect structure.
There's all sorts going on in the chat.
I told you not to encourage the Arsenal fans, and now the Arsenal fans are in an uproar.
We'll come back to that. Right, let's have a look at this week's matchups then. So who's got the best matchups for this game week? Well, Attack, Chelsea. Okay, 1.5, but only 1.5. Remember what we've been seeing in previous weeks' games? We've been seeing 3.5. This is 1.5 against a team ranked where they are.
That's
again. It's not jumping out off the. Look who's second. Liverpool against City. Even with City's amazing defensive record, Liverpool are just so attacking. The matchup is positive, and in fact, City's matchup is positive as well against Liverpool defense at 0.7. Burnley then 0.7. Is it time for Wood?
It is the morning here, so.
Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah. Bad boy. And defensively, the best matchups are Brighton. Sorry, Arsenal fans, but it's a really good matchup on the basis of the numbers. 2.3. Then Burnley again. Then United. Then Chelsea. So United and Chelsea defensively are treated about the same. Okay. But going back to the attack, look, Manchester United are 7th best matchup. 7th best. There's another great pause when you're thinking about what the hell am I going to do with those 2 premiums this week? This is why I said, if you want a decision, you're probably coming to the wrong place, because it's going to take me more than tonight to work this one out. Manchester City, with respect to average, so your double returners, Manchester City 1.5. I mean, 1-0 away, Cancelo assist. It's possible you could have a hole on your hands, mate. Chelsea 1.4, Liverpool 1.2. With no Trent, that's probably going to do them some damage, possibly. So that's the fixture difficulty. So let's now look at, we're going to try and predict some 2.5 goals, and we're going to try and predict a couple of clean sheets. All right? But spoiler alert, I'm not predicting many.
Not looking good for the 2.5 goals.
It's not, is it?
No.
Chelsea have got a 1.4. Now, look, they're not liked, even odds-wise, only 39% of 2.5 goals for 2.5 goals or more. It is the best matchup. They're 4th best at home with 2.9, but they're getting worse. And Southampton are just poor defensively away at 4.3, it's same as usual. Look, so minus 0.1. Now, the matchup's not so good, but not because of Southampton. It's actually because of Chelsea. But why? Is this because of the fixtures? And I had to say, and I don't know if you've listened to it, but if you can go back on the timestamps and listen to Harry, FPL Tips, on the Compass show this week, I thought he made an excellent point. And that was, even though the matchup isn't so good, Jiminez did a job on Southampton's defence. He bullied them. Mm-hmm. So if Jiminez can bully them, surely Lukaku can. Surely. Okay? And Chelsea's last 3 fixtures, okay, where Lukaku's form has been poorer, it's only been averaging a 0.5 positive matchup. So it's not like he's not returning in easier fixtures. He's not returning in tougher fixtures. Mm-hmm. And now this is a different kettle of fish entirely, as far as I'm concerned. Zonal matchups. Now, I've already brought Rudiger in for sure earlier this week to avoid a price rise and a probable price drop. And I think Shaw might drop overnight tonight. I think he's very close to dropping now. What's your perspective of that zonal matchup for Southampton? It suggests that Southampton might create chances down the middle, but look, Kante's out for Chelsea, but Southampton don't seem to create much from anywhere else. Gabe, what's your perspective on this one?
I think you nailed it there. Southampton have created 28 chances down the middle this season compared to 15 from the right and 15 from the left. So almost double, almost the same number of chances they created from the middle than the left and the right combined. And I think that's skewing this matchup. So I think the zonal matchups need time to mature. And so until that happens, I don't know, maybe 10 game weeks or something like that. Until that happens, I think we need to question the zonal matchups in terms of is the opponent conceding? Because that's the main thing you're looking for. If the opponent is conceding, then the team can begin creating through that weakness. If the team naturally creates there, it's a bonus. But the most important thing is the opponent conceding, and we're not seeing that in many cases.
That's interesting. Maybe we should consider a weighting then towards the conceding chances rather than the creating.
I hadn't considered a weight. We should talk about that offline.
Think about that separately.
Well,
I mean,
international break project maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Just something else to do. So you're saying it could be a false green then, in this case. So
I think so.
All is not lost for Chelsea defenders, provided you can pick the right one. And good luck to you, because I'm not sure that I can. The odds for a clean sheet is 50%. That's enough for me. 2.5 goals and a clean sheet for Chelsea this week. I'm going for it. I'm not a big lover of the matchup, but I'm still going for it. Here we go. Burnley clean sheet, mate. Norwich are crap.
I mean, every team is going to get at least one clean sheet this season, right? This could be it for Burnley. Why not?
I'm so certain of this. I've deleted my notes off the slide.
Next.
That's all I said. Norwich is crap. No, I mean, look, let's look at this. Let's look at this on the screen and try and talk people through it. Burnley, 8th ranked at home defensive-wise. Obviously, that takes into account quite a long period of time, but they are getting worse. But Norwich, flat bottom, worse than we could ever have expected. Did I say 0.2 big chances per night, or 0.2 XG per 90? You know, and then did I hear someone say on Twitter about Pucky as a punt? Not for this week, for later on. I'm not sure about that. I genuinely think Norwich are really, really poor. I mean, looking at these matchups, Gabe, and again, like you say, they're a little bit young, aren't they? But you know, Burnley look like they're probably going to create stuff down through the middle and to the right with respect to Norwich. But Norwich might create something down the right as well. Against Burnley, but I think most of Norwich's chances down the right, am I right? They come against Liverpool.
Yeah.
when Liverpool just bombed on and didn't care anymore.
Yeah.
But interesting enough as well, there's also a heck of a lot of chances created by crossing for Burnley. Okay, and Norwich concede a lot of crosses.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm quite interested in Chris Wood this week as well for that reason. But I'm going to go with a clean sheet, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what anybody else thinks of it. I'm not saying, for goodness sake, don't lump on them. Because like you say, Burnley, they're due a clean sheet at some stage, aren't they? They're not particularly good. But, you know, at the end of the day, the one thing I would say is Norwich probably need to win this game, because if they don't start winning this type of game, then they really are in trouble, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But what does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to focus on defense, try to get, you know, or are they going to attack, you know?
I don't know. I can't quite call it. I'm not quite sure. Could this be the last game on Match of the Day? That's the old trick, isn't it? You know what I mean by that, don't you? Have you ever seen Match of the Day in the UK? It's the worst game of the week. So it always comes on last.
I'm surprised they don't lead with the worst game.
No, they don't. They put it on last. It's always used to be Hull City.
Tigers.
Enough said. So I'm happy to say that. Brilliant. Right, the next one, we'll come away from clean sheets and 2.5 goals, because that was it. So what we're going to talk about now, we want to have a look at Manchester United and Everton. Because of the Ronaldo side of things, we've already done Lukaku, so we wanted to do Ronaldo as well. So here's the matchup. It's not great. Manchester United's attack is ranked 3rd at 2.5, and it's getting better. Against Everton, defence away, 3rd.
3rd. Mm-hmm.
3rd. There comes back to what you said earlier on. Defensively, Everton at 2.9. They've also got positive form, big positive form. Mm-hmm. And maybe the odds have got this, are thinking about this, because they've only got Manchester United at 35% for 2.5 goals or more. this is where I think why you can see, if you look at this, you start looking at it and go, actually, I can probably see why people aren't thinking Manchester United are going to go crazy. Manchester United's defence is fourth. Poor form. It's red.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly Shaw out, possibly Maguire out, or Maguire definitely out, sorry, isn't he?
Yeah.
Against Everton attack, which is neutral, 4.1, and obviously with injuries.
Yeah.
Okay. But, it's a better matchup defensively against attack, but because of the injuries, I'm not sure it is. But the odds for a clean sheet is about 48% for Manchester United. I think that's really kind.
Yes, I agree. That's surprisingly high.
Yeah, really kind. What do you think about the? Have you got any views on the matchups? And I mean, one of the players we've been calling out in recent weeks is Doucouré. He's been doing great things. In fact, we called him out in pre-season, didn't we?
We did.
I mean, what's your views on Everton? They've got a reasonable matchup down the right, 3.8. Not a great deal anywhere else. What's your view?
So, the reasonable matchup down the right comes from, we talked about in preseason, when I wrote matchups for preseason, one thing that I mentioned was that Everton had nothing from the right. Last season, they created nothing from the right side. So the fact that that Townsend and Doucouré are creating from that side now, I think bodes well for Everton, certainly because Manchester United are vulnerable on their left side. And so this is one of the cases where Manchester United do concede more from that left side. However, and you mentioned this while we were chatting, Mariner, if we expect Alex Telles to play, he'll get forward similarly to Shaw. So we can maybe still expect the hole there, like kind of where Doucouré is playing. So I think that there could be some action for Doucouré. What I don't like so much is on the left side. I don't like it for Gray because Aaron Wan-Bissaka does not get forward. So whatever the way Everton use Gray is they possess on the right hand side, and they bring their forward players, shift the forward players over to that right hand side, and then with a quick switch of the point of the attack to the left side, they get Gray in space. But if Manchester United are just going to sit Wan-Bissaka back there, that tactic might not work. So I think there could be some hope for Doucouré. I think less hope for Gray. And the other thing I'll say is just regarding Everton defense, they are ranked quite highly. Rafa Benitez is doing I'm impressed with what he's done so far. And Rafa coached. He managed Cristiano, and so he knows Cristiano's psychology. And I expect Rafa to get some things in there to get under Cristiano's skin. If he can stifle the deliveries to Cristiano and get Cristiano to become frustrated with his teammates, I think that's what Rafa's going to try to do.
Well, he'll certainly get frustrated, won't he? Because he starts throwing his arms up in the air and things like that, and then very quickly, I don't think he loses interest. I don't think Ronaldo could ever lose interest.
No.
But he certainly does get frustrated. Because
the one thing and this will come as no surprise to anybody, but I was looking at Cristiano's heat maps, and his touch heat map is almost identical to his passes received heat map, which tells me he's doing no work off the ball or like defensively, or like all of the touches that he gets are because people passing him the ball, not because he's going and winning, which I thought was interesting.
Well, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, isn't he? Doesn't he?
There it is.
Let's see about that. I mean, we'll come back to some questions and things later on.
There's a question. Oh, you want to come back to them?
No, wait. I mean, you can do if you want. If you've got a specific one against Manchester United,
it's relevant here. Do we expect Everton to press a lot?
What do you think?
I think the two D mids will. I think they'll press the D mids. McSauce, as they like to call him in FML FPL, and Fred if he's in there or what have you. The other thing that I'll say about United is if Telles isn't given license to go forward, or if they play, who else played? Oh, Diogo Dalot. If they play him,
I call him Dalot, but I'm from Grimsby, so you call him Dalot. You're posh.
If I'm posh, I'm just South American. That's the opposite of posh. If he plays on that left-hand side, I don't think he'll be given freedom to move forward. And United will look for some creativity from that left-hand side if Dalot plays. So I think that it could mean some action for Pogba. I think Pogba could be creating from the left. That's the only kind of one thing tactically that I see that could arise.
Okay, so in closing on this one, we're going to come back to this when we come to the captaincy, of course. Could be a long afternoon.
Oh, hold on. FPL Escapades is telling us that Shaw is fit, included in the England squad too.
Fuck. I've sold him.
Sorry. I sold him. Baker, clip it. Fuck, I sold him.
It's just
priceless. So good.
I mean, he's not going to drop his price. He's crying out loud. Yeah,
oh, man.
That's right. Pissed on my bonfire, isn't it? Oh, man. Oh,
it's classic.
Oh. Escapades, I think I might need to escape from this thread right now. Right, anyway, let's keep going off. For crying out loud. I thought he was going to be injured. Right. Whoa, man. I've lost my mind so much. I've just shot straight past all the other slides. Right. I've completely lost my train of thought.
Yeah, Escapades just totally threw you off the rails.
You just completely destroyed me. Oh, God. Right. Anyway, come on. Who's the Alchemist? Oh, I've already put it on the screen.
Is everyone already? At least, so for the podcast listeners, that Mariner didn't ruin the surprise for you guys. The Alchemist this week is Raul Jiminez. Raul El Macho Jiminez.
Who?
Raul Jiminez.
I got bollocked on Twitter for spelling his name wrong.
You spelled his name wrong?
Yeah, I put Jimi.
Because everyone calls him Jimmy.
Yeah, I got bollocked for it.
Right? So you should. So the quote I have here for Raul Jiminez, I think is fitting for his situation. The quote from The Alchemist this week is, "There's only one thing that makes a dream impossible to achieve: the fear of failure." So I think Raul Jiminez has overcome his fear. Maybe not fear of failure, but fear of losing his life. Seriously, I don't say that jokingly. So really, and that's why I think it was such an emotional moment. We can see in the image how emotional it was for him, and we can see the fucking trash can Podence there took Adama's spot.
I was going to say that little poison dwarfs.
Little fucking punk took Adama's spot and played like shit.
It's like John Terry trying to join in celebrations, isn't he? Look.
Get out of there, Podence. So what I have here, Raul Jiminez broke his post-injury duck with a combination of muscle and grace. You can see what it meant to him, and this event made him a consideration for the Alchemist this week. Add how much higher. Well, we're going to get to this soon. So I'll get to this in just a second. But Newcastle, obviously, this goes without saying. Newcastle is the second worst chances conceded from the center. They've conceded 31 from the center. I mean, Newcastle, sure, they're happy to have Darlow back, but Darlow has the joint 5th most shots parried to opposition, despite only playing 180 minutes this season. So even Darlow's a liability. I like this moral victory for Jimenez to carry over into one of the best matchups for an attacker. The other thing that I'll mention is, and that I am kind of getting ahead of ourselves. There's
a comment from you said Jimenez sounds like he is WWE wrestler Rey Mysterio. Who the flying monkeys is that? I've never heard of the bloody fella.
No, that's Ray from the chat. Rey Mysterio. That's what it is. I'm not sure anything. It's Ray. Ray Koreshi.
Do you mean our Asana guy?
Yeah.
I'm not bloody answering him. He keeps asking me to do things.
He's in the chat. You can talk to him directly. So one thing I'll mention that this week.
Let's get back on. Let's
get back on thread. So this week, and well, I haven't had time to write matchups. I might be able to write something today, but I have been working on a metric, and we'll get to that shortly. But I do want to say I'll talk about the details of the metric shortly. But I want to say that Wolves topped this metric that I've been working on by quite some distance, and that was really the kicker for me. All of the signs are there for Jiminez, so he's the optimist.
Is it to do with gas?
Gas?
Yeah.
No, I'm veering from your theme of the week. I'm not comfortable having the theme of the week be shit when it's like 6 a.m. for me.
Anyway, Jiminez, great shout. He's also my differential, which I've given to FPL Serpent this week as well. So, yeah, I really like Jiminez. I think he will score at home, and I think it will be equally as emotional because seeing him in front of the fans at Molineux, I think will be fabulous. And let's face it, Newcastle are pants. Right, okay. Defensive Haul of the Week. God, come on. Here we go. It has to be, doesn't it? It just has to be Tarkowski. You watch, it's Loughton again. You watch. What happened last year.
Exactly.
Look what happened last year. If it's Loughton, honestly, don't go there. If that happens, there's going to be major riots next week on the show. Norwich have conceded 2.7 big chances per 90. They're conceding tons of crosses. They've also only created 1 big chance in 3 games away from home. Tarkowski is my hauler of the week. Could have been Tierney. Nearly was.
But
I've
approach with caution.
Yes, I know. Well, everything's approached with caution with me. And as for the the trap of the week, I've forgotten.
Loughton. It's Loughton.
I've forgotten it. Right, anyway, it's time I had 30 seconds off. I better play this stupid advert. No, it's not stupid. We love story. What are you waiting?
Worst intro to an advert ever.
What are you waiting for, everybody? Here it comes.
Are you craving more FPL content? Then look no further than allaboutfpl.com. Head over there for weekly articles from some of the top content creators on the planet. So what are you waiting for? Head over to allaboutfpl.com, the website for all your FPL needs.
We love him, really. We need to be back on the show soon. Where is he? I've not heard from him for ages.
He's been busy. He's doing his celebrity tour.
Actually, yeah, he is, isn't he? He made it onto Who Got the Assist, didn't he?
Yeah. Trap of the week equals Chris Mariner, confirmed.
Chris, it's quite probable. Don't follow my team. If you do, follow it at your peril. For sure. Anyway, no, head over to allaboutfpl.com. Some great articles on there, some great writers, and Surya is a great guy. So do support him. Right. We're going to have a look at a few nice punts.
Yes.
I had to be very careful about that.
I saw you were very deliberate in that.
Very careful indeed.
Yes, careful in that delivery.
Yes, so we don't talk about things like that. We're going to try and cover this quite quickly before we get onto the captain metric and the algo and things. So what we've done is we got a list of punts which were thrown at us on Twitter, or thrown at you on Twitter, Gabe.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. So what we've done is we've just gone through and we've said whether we like them or not. And we put it onto the screen for you. And then what we'll do, Gabe, whilst we're talking about this, you can bring in your new metric.
Can I describe it first?
Want to describe it to start with?
Yeah. I mean, just so people know what we're talking about here. This is I titled it the MXG, so it's like the matchups XG metric, and what the numbers are arbitrary. The 11 doesn't actually mean anything, but what I'm looking at here is expected goals compared to expected goals conceded, and I'm looking at expected. So I'm taking the pre-shot model of expected goals and comparing goals versus goals, expected goals conceded, and I'm also combining it with the post-shot model. So I have expected Game of Thrones and expected Game of Thrones conceded on that side. So we have the pre-shot model and the post-shot model. I combine them, and then what I do is I add the expected goals prevented from the goalkeeper. So I'm looking at pre-shot, post-shot, and then the influence of the goalkeeper in a scoring situation. And I came up with this matchup. So it's the MXG. I call it the MXG metric. And just for the podcast listeners, Wolves tops it by quite a distance at 11.27. Second is Manchester City at 9.76. So you'll notice it's about a 1.5, about 1.5 difference there. Third is Chelsea at 9.66. Fourth is Watford at 9.48. And fifth is Liverpool at 9.34. From the bottom up, we have Norwich at the bottom, 4.05. Then Leicester, 5.27. Then Burnley at 5.3. Then Southampton, 5.48. And then Leeds, 5.52.
Burnley. I'm going to turn this straight round on you. This will be looking at this Wolves. This is my first question about this, and I've not seen what you've done. You've told me what you've done, but I've not seen the workings.
Yeah,
you know me. I like my matchups.
So
Wolves. Have you broke it? Can you break it down to show the 3 bits next week, so we can actually see whether a team is underperforming on XG? And for example, let's say you might not necessarily have a great deal of shots, but you're really clinical. Or you might be having loads of shots like Wolves and have a load of gas. And not convert it.
I can show you right now very quickly.
Do you want me to share the screen?
If you like,
Just give us the screen.
Yeah,
so you can do it anyway. You're a fellow captain, aren't you?
Well,
make sure you don't
I wouldn't go that far.
I was going to say, make sure you don't stop the broadcast, though.
Can you guys see it here?
Well, yeah, I can see it, but you need to make it bigger.
Make it bigger. Got it. Whoops, that's smaller.
That's okay. All right, well, hang on.
Like that. Let's make it bigger.
There we go. That'll work. That's good enough.
Yeah? Okay. So if we want to look at Wolves here, let's see. Wolves, they have an X. So the XG matchup. So the Wolves is, what is this? The XG matchup. So it's the Wolves is XG plus the XG conceded of their opponent, which is Newcastle. I add those two and divide by 2. So to get the average of the 2,
yeah.
Right? I average that XG.
Like I do with the zonals.
Exactly. I average the 2, and that's the XG matchup. Then I average the 2 expected Game of Thrones matchup. So XG is pre-shot. Game of Thrones is post-shot. So it's a pre-shot model, post-shot model. And then I add the goalkeeper XG prevented, and I get the combined of 11.7.
Okay.
11.27. So it's 11.39 plus 9 for the XG plus 9.15 for the expected Game of Thrones. Divide that by 2, add 1 in this case.
So in a sense, what we're seeing here is Wolves get a great deal of XG. Newcastle concede a great deal of XG. That's why they're so high.
Yep.
And then you've got the on target where basically, although that's lower because Wolves are not so clinical, right?
Right.
I take it. And then the XG expected Game of Thrones, which is your goalkeeper, right? Is that suggesting Newcastle is saving things?
No. The expected Game of Thrones is the XG. That's the XG of the shot after it's taken. That's the post-shot model. So we have the pre-shot model of the XG, the post-shot model of the XGOT.
So the post-shot model's dragging them down.
Yes.
Right, as we thought.
Yeah. But they're still significantly above any of the other teams.
Okay, I get it. Okay, interesting. Right. Let me put this other one back on. So that explains that. So I hope you've got it, guys, because I think it might be quite useful to think about this going forwards. I think it'd be good to actually get it on a table where it's all, where you see it all, Gabe. I think That's useful. People can refer back to it. But anyway, let's go through these really super quick. Who have we? Oh my God, hang on a minute. I just lost my bloody notes. Here we go. Right. We're going to go through them. And despite your MXG, I thought that was something which you put in pies. That's MSG, isn't it?
MSG.
Right. Anyway, Wood against Norwich. We've both gone for a decent punt there. He's got a 50% chance of goal scoring as well, according to the odds. And he's playing the 4th worst defence in the league. And he has the ability to haul, which some players don't, right? But Wood does have the ability to haul, mainly when I don't own him. So it could be a good week.
mainly when you own Vidra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's always what happens, right? We don't like Trossard.
No.
Arsenal's defence is improving. I like Bueno of Brentford against West Ham from my hatred of West Ham's defence, I think. But again, maybe not quite as bad as what I thought. So, but he's out of position, right? And he's ranked against the 13th defence. So
yes, Mbomo has he struggles to finish. He's the Traore of Brentford.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know that West Ham will leave the kind of space that Mbomo needs to operate, and I don't think Mbomo is as good as Tony. So I see this more as a Tony game.
Good, because I own him. That's good news. Saka, neither of us particularly like. I mean, look, I'll tell you why I don't like those two Arsenal matchups against Brighton, and that's just Brighton's fixture difficulty with respect to defensive side of things. But you actually like Smith Rowe.
I like Smith Rowe because I think he's a player in form, and Arsenal just force so much down that left hand side with. So I like him to be involved and come away with something in this one. Yeah.
Okay. The next one, Pookie against Burnley. No. Norwich are bad. Right.
Norwich are bad, and he might be a rotation risk.
Really?
He might be.
Have they got anyone else?
I don't remember their name, but
I don't either. But anyway, Jiminez we've already gone through. We both like him. Okay. Next one. Townsend for Everton against Manchester United. I mean, look, my notes were along the lines of how can you punt against anybody playing away at Manchester United? But he's on penalties, maybe. So are we missing a trick here? I don't know. I changed my mind on Dennis, and I went with you in the end. Although there's just been a comment in the chat that who's back? Here we go. Pedro, right? Okay, let's see what happens with that. Yes. But look, the matchup against Leeds is pretty favourable, right?
I mean, it is. And it's the best as far as the zonal matchup. It's the best in the league.
Yeah, and it's also one that people might be thinking about doing, because if anybody's got a little bit of cash spare and you're wildcarding next week, maybe you can take that 4.5 dustbin who's been sat on your bench for 6 game weeks up to Dennis and give him a run.
Yeah, so there was a comment in the chat saying that João Pedro is in contention, so Dennis could be a rotation risk. And then there was a response to that, which is why this shows why the chat is so good. The response was that João Pedro, when he came on last match, he came on and Dennis stayed on the field.
You've got an American passport, haven't you?
I do.
Yeah, why did you miss Josh Sargent then for Norwich?
I heard someone on a podcast say that Josh Sargent is good. Man. They're like, oh, Josh Sargent, it was on the black box. I think they said he was good. I'm like, man, these guys have never seen U.S. soccer or the Bundesliga because Josh Sargent is not very good. Anyway,
they've got Dennis there, so we're going with Dennis, and Look, I've changed my mind. I've gone with St. Maximin. If nothing else, because I just love watching him.
Okay, that's fair.
But look, I'm going to say this. If Newcastle get anything, he'll be involved.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. So I don't think it's a terrible gamble, being honest with you.
Pavan R in the chat just does say that Llorente and Schauk are back. Schauk is back from his suspension. I guess Llorente's healthy now.
That might make it a bit different for Watford then. So that might, but look,
yeah, that could dampen anyone that's thinking of.
Bear in mind, we did these notes yesterday, and there's all these press conferences happening right now. Yeah. So anyway, top 3 with respect to our best choices for a little gamble this week, a little punt. We are going to go with Jiminez. We are going to go with Wood. And we are going to go with Dennis. 1, 2, 3. That's the choice, boys. So, all right. I hope that was useful for you. And
get Wood in that punt.
Yeah. Oh God. And don't for crying out loud.
Behave, dude. Behave, man.
I'm really struggling now. I'm just going to start laughing. I can't do anything about it. Oh no, I need a drink. Hang on a minute. Right. I'm even running out of water and I've got a bloody sore throat. Right. Where are we going from here? We need to go to the algorithm and have a quick look at that. I'm getting really bored of this algorithm. I might sack it off. We did all right this week, at least. We got 59 points, an average of 43. And no thanks to Decore, which it picked, which was actually quite a good little choice at 11 points. Antonio got 8. Salah was captain. Jota returned. Semedo returned. That was bloody helpful for me. I needed that return, I have to say. But it could have been so much better. Look at that. 2 Crystal Palace players losing their clean sheet in the 95th minute.
Yeah. Ben Rahma could have scored as well.
Ben Rahma could have scored. Well, Ronaldo wouldn't have scored if he'd have been playing now. But yeah, Ben Rahma could have done all right.
That double Palace clean sheet is...
Double Palace clean sheet really hurt, didn't it? That really hurt it. But yeah, I mean, we obviously missed a week. It's doing okay. It's been above average 4 out of 5 times we've done it. I'd like to say where it's doing in the league, but I have to take that many hits every week. It's about 6 million.
Hey, the algo is pushing all of our ranks up.
I'm not sure about that. This is the algorithm this week. You can fall off your chair laughing now because Duffy's top. That's because the fixture difficulties are just so bad for everybody else.
Well, that and who's Duffy playing this week?
Arsenal, of course. What do you expect? I didn't do this deliberately, boys. Honest, I really didn't.
Yeah, right. It's tops the algo.
It's gone for double Brighton defense. Oh, double Brighton. It's gone for Sanchez and it's gone for Duffy. It's gone for Alonso, Cancelo, Tarkowski, and Loughton on the bench. So it likes Burnley defense this week. It's gone for Salah. It's gone for Jota. Goodness knows why it's gone for Son, but it has because I don't think I could find anybody else. It's gone for Zaha in midfield. With Douglas Lewis making up the bench, and up front it's got Lukaku and Antonio. I don't think that's too confusing. It has not gone for Ronaldo. It didn't pick him. It picked Salah over Ronaldo.
There's Pavan asks, any punts in midfield, Zaha? And the algo, the reason I put that up there is the algo, selected Zaha in this match.
Yeah, but he's not that high up. He's not that high up. He's filling in. He's filling in, really. I mean, look, if you're asking me, there's not... I don't think... There's nothing really leaps out in midfield for me this week.
Rafinha.
Yeah, well, Rafinha, yeah. But I don't think he's in the... I'll tell you why he's not in the algo, because he's flagged. That's why. Otherwise, he'd probably be there.
He'd probably be there instead of Zaha, you think?
Yeah.
Zaha would move out?
Yeah, almost certainly. He would certainly push people down anyway.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. So, anyway, so that's where that is. So, that's the algorithm. Let's see how it does this week. We need to move across to the captaincy now, and we're going to start this week in a slightly different order, which is we're going to do the cat pick and we're going to do the community poll. So, well, last week, the cat picked Ronaldo. Yeah, he's not flagged now, but he was flagged when I did the algo.
Yeah, Rafinha's not flagged anymore.
Yeah. No, is he not? Has he come off?
That's what Susha Kumar says.
Yeah. So anyway, the community poll has gone with Lukaku. It then went with Ronaldo second. So 54%, 33% Ronaldo, 11% Antonio, and Salah 2%. Wow. Has anyone ever seen Salah so low in a captaincy poll? I think there was a comment on the YouTube channel about it, actually. I was quite shocked. I mean, clearly City's defence is excellent, but isn't Salah in the form of his life?
Salah, that's what I was going to say. Not only Salah at 2%, but Salah in the form of his life. Liverpool in great form as well.
At home.
At home, 2%. It's 2% surprising.
Ownership. Do you know what? It's not. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to predict it. But wouldn't it be absolutely hilarious if Salah's the only one who returns? It would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the cat was given those choices. Who's this idiot gone for this week? He is borderline gonna, a pair of slippers. Right, anyway, here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, God. Again.
I want to know what name was on the paper on the left. When he looked over, he's sniffing, he's like, not sure, and then he went back to the middle.
I should have looked, because he turned his nose up, didn't he?
Yeah,
we'll have to see. But yeah, anyway, he's gone with Ronaldo, so there's probably definitely a pair of slippers. Let's see how it goes anyway. It's a bit of fun, if nothing else. I think people have given up on using his... I think people have given up using him now because he keeps getting it wrong.
People were actually taking the cat's advice over us. That says a lot.
Yeah. The cat loves the early kickoffs. Oh, God, his early kickoff with Ronaldo as well.
Yeah.
I'm definitely wildcarding. That's it. I'm done. That's it. Wildcard's going. I can't stick with that. Not another early kickoff. Crying out loud. Captaincy pick. We're now at 4 out of 6. Salah returned with respect to the metric. So all is not lost there. I was pleased he got something. A return is a return, everybody. Isn't it?
It was Salah?
Yeah.
No. Salah and Ronaldo were tied, right?
No, it was Salah. It was Salah who was the captaincy pick, wasn't it? I'm sure it was. It wasn't Ronaldo. No, it was Salah.
Sure.
I'm sure it was. I'll check back.
I think it was Ronaldo because I think I've gone with the metric every week.
Oh,
and I'm at 50%.
Wrong, man. If that's the case, it's a blank. I'll have to have a look anyway. Let me check it out later. If I've got it wrong, I've got it wrong. Maybe I've just been
cheated over there.
Who cares? Right. Anyway, let's see what happens this week. You ready?
Yeah.
There we go. And it's a tie.
It's a big fuck you from you to everybody, man. That's messed up, man.
Screw you.
It's not right.
Can you believe it? It's tied it up. But there's been a slight change, everybody, and I'll tell you what it is. I have now thrown in a 4th pillar. And I threw it in before the start of the week, before I did the numbers. I put I've been messing around with the odds now for a while. You've seen it on the side of the screen now for a few weeks. It's now got that 4th pillar, which is actually odds. They are now starting to be weighted into the overall thing. And the reason for this, guys, honestly, is because of the home and away side of things. I feel it needs some perspective on fans and things like that. And I don't think I don't think the fixture difficulty is giving it at the moment. So I think that's one reason why we've done it. Now, according to my notes, and I'm going to have to look back here, but I've got that Salah was top on 89 last week. With good fixture difficulty, good form against Brentford. He got one return. It could have been a lot more. Ronaldo, we didn't have a lot of data. He was very close behind him, 88.
88, yeah.
Small amount of data, but poor. And Mane, enough said. Alchemist, maybe cup of poison, probably more likely, probably from the Alchemist rather than anything else. But
he drank the wrong vial.
He didn't do, he drank the wrong vial. He didn't do particularly very well, did he? And of course, Antonio, and I mean, sure as eggs are eggs, if anyone was going to turn up and score in the last minute, what a goal, or the last couple of minutes, Antonio's late show, he was there as well. So, okay, so I've told you how we're going to change it with respect to this. The community poll is going to break the tie for the metric this week. So it means it's going to go with Lukaku. But let's have a quick look at these. So, okay. So Ronaldo there. Look how poor his fixture difficulty is, Gabe. 103.9. It's not even green. The only reason he is that high is because of a small portion of data and his early returns. Okay. His form's okay, 7.7, and he's got potential for a goal and assist, 72%. Quite high, right? Mm-hmm. Lukaku, on the other hand, has a better fixture difficulty, 111.4. But his returns are much lower. Only 20% haul, 40% return. Okay. Oh. His form's similar, but he's got an 80% chance of returning. So that's where it's bringing him back in on the back of the odds, right? And then Antonio, still quite incredible numbers, 42% haul, 58% return. He doesn't show any likelihood of slowing down, does he? Mm-hmm. Good form, 7.4, but 64% return for any time return, because I think Antonio doesn't really tend to assist quite so much. He tends to just score. And look how close Mo Salah is. He is nowhere from this. In fact, you needed a tiny bit of fixture difficulty, and Salah would have topped the metric this week.
Yeah. And
that is nothing to do with the fixture. It's all about his form. So Salah is not a bad shout for captains this week. For goodness sake, nobody's going to do it. But honestly, I wouldn't be at all surprised if he didn't return. So, right, okay, what we got in here? We've got any questions and things about the captaincy, mate? What's going on?
There's a question here.
Oh no, where's Gallagher?
Where's Gallagher?
Well, at what price is he? 5.5, 6, 7?
5.6 now, I think.
5.6. That's why we don't include them that low. Right. Okay.
Oh, Ben Rothman's in there.
Well, he is, but we had to put him in because his form was off the bloody scale.
Yeah.
I suppose I could put Gallagher in, but I think who are they playing this week? Leicester, is it?
If you're captaining a player like Gallagher, you're probably not following them anymore.
I think you're probably right. I don't think we've got people now talking about who's got the best background. Apparently, my curtains are winning. Right.
Hey, brown curtains wins every time. No, I can't compete with brown curtains.
I've got my green screen here. It's just sat looking at me. I never put it up. I should have done it really, but anyway. But yeah, I think we're okay. So I think we could just take some questions, Gabe, and then get out of here.
Yeah.
So what have we got happening in the chat?
We have quite a few questions today in the chat. I'll have to go back and find some of them though.
So, right, who else have we got on at the moment? So, we've obviously had the question about the curtains. Who's better background, me or Gabe? Apparently, I'm winning. I think it's the Grimsby. It's in the Grimsby scarf now. That came back from Germany. That came via Grimsby, Germany, to Singapore. Question. Oh God, bloody wildcard question. Why did I ask for it? Here we go. FPL Sonaldo. Thank you, my friend. With wildcard in 8, 1 free transfer, what's the best move? Trent to Chelsea defender, none at the moment. Raffin for Jota or Greenwood, or Lukaku in for Ronaldo. You may as well just be talking. Have you hacked my team? There's been a lot of story about hacking. I need those two-factor authorization, don't I? That second, so people can stop getting at my bloody team. It looks like it's picked my team because this is my problem. Look, I've got one Chelsea defender already. I've got Rudiger. It very much dependent on whether you've got what's on your bench. I would probably say, could you stick with Ronaldo? Yes, you could. Could you stick with Jota? Yes, you could. Who's your third defender? Who's your defender going to come in? I think that's probably the key. Ignatius is here. He's going to play Livramento. I won't play Livramento for that reason. I think if I make that move, I'm probably going to bring another Chelsea. I might bring another Chelsea defender in, but then I'm going to be looking through my hands when it comes to selection. The other option is Jota for Rafinha. I think I'd do Jota before I'd do Ronaldo.
I think you have to look at it as what's the greatest impact, and you have a non-playing premium defender moving to another premium defender in a good matchup. That's a big delta. Yeah. Cristiano to Lukaku, that could be a big delta, but it's not obviously a big delta. And the Jota transfer as well. So I think I would lean on the biggest impact on the transfer, and for me, that's in defense in this situation.
Yeah. Okay. You want to hear? I have Shaw, Trent, Bamford flagged. No wild card in the pocket, and I only have Ronaldo. Any suggestions? Well, Bamford's definitely out. Trent's definitely out. Shaw might not be, apparently.
We'll have to look at the press conference, but I guess someone was saying that it looks like Shaw could be in contention. I mean, those are 2 bench spots. We don't know who else is on your bench, Suchet.
Look, if it was me here, if I was taking a hit, I would go Bamford to Jiminez in a heartbeat.
Easy.
Heartbeat.
There it is.
You agree?
Yep. Bamford to Jiminez, and I mean, if it depends, right? If you have 1 free transfer, then Bamford to Jiminez and Shaw to a Chelsea defender could be a good hit, maybe.
Yeah, Shaw to a Chelsea defender. But then again, the good thing about it is that the bad thing about it for me, because I own Ronaldo and it's that bloody lunchtime kickoff again, is that we might get some team news about Manchester United. We might get a leak. We've had a leak before now, haven't we, for Manchester United this season? Mm-hmm. If we get a leak, I would hold on late. But if you know Shaw's not playing and he's definitely out, then you could consider a hit there to bring, like I say, a Rudiger in or someone like that. I don't know. I'd go to Alonso because I don't know whether he's going to start or not. I mean, knowing my luck, Rudiger won't start either. But we could all get 2 shelled, right? For sure. It's definitely possible. Right, next one. Bench TAA and take a punt on a Burnley defender instead of Ayling. Dunk, Kufal, Burnley defender would start. I mean, you're going to keep Trent. He might only be out for 1 week. It's not the worst move, given the...
bench TA. What do you mean take a punt on? So that they're bringing a Burnley defender in.
Bench TAA and probably go Ailing to a Burnley defender. That by the looks of things.
No, I wouldn't do it. I would go. It depends on if you have a wild card. If you have a wild card, fine, I guess. But if you have a wild card, then I would take out TAA and bring in a Chelsea defender. If you don't have a wild card, I wouldn't bring a Burnley defender in. I'd bring in Benny Blanco or the Japanese guy, Tomiyasu, for 4 or 5. Ben White. Ben White.
Oh, you must be joking. You're serious?
Over a Burnley defender. Absolutely, 100%. It's better long-term asset in my opinion.
Taco's going to haul, mate. Taco's going to haul.
But then you're stuck with a Burnley defender.
I know. Depends if you've got the wild card, right?
And an Arsenal defender could haul against Brighton. They could get a clean sheet. So.
Absolutely could. Yeah, definitely. Oh, so Pavan, TAA, Trinco, Ronaldo to Chilwell, Tarkowski, Zaha. How many? He's taking 3 out and bringing. Oh no, Chilwell, TAA, Trinco, and Ronaldo to Chilwell or Tarkowski, Zaha or Lukaku for a -4 wildcarding next week. I don't know about Chilwell. That's the first one. Mm-hmm. I don't like Trincao. I would take him out. I'm not sure about Zaha. Lukaku's okay. I mean, you're taking a -4. Are you going to return? You could return just taking that Trent. Taking Trent out would pay for the -4, wouldn't it? It's only a -2 in real terms.
No, I don't see it that way because I see the unnecessary transfer here is Ronaldo to Lukaku. That's the -4 you don't need. You can go Trent to a Chelsea defender. I don't know about Chilwell, but a Chelsea defender, and Trincao to a Zaha or another mid with Rafinha. I don't know what your spot is like. So I would just do TAA and Trincao to.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't need to take a hit, but you could pay your hit off. I'm not saying this is the right group of players, but you could pay your hit off with Trent anyway, just changing Trent out, right? Because like I say, it's only 2 points because he's not playing.
He has 2 free transfers, right?
Yeah. So I mean, still take a -4 with different options, but I don't like Chilwell. I don't know. I can't work.
Too uncertain.
I've got this real problem with Chelsea. I really don't know, and Astralicious Simeon has as well. I was also wondering, should I go for a Chelsea defender? Although doubling up with Cancelo and Diaz also looks fine to me. This week, I don't know. I'd double up with Cancelo and Diaz. I can see doubling up for him in a wild card for sure. I think they're my. I think you're talking basically 3 of my 3 players there from my wild card will probably be Rudiger, Cancelo, and Diaz.
Yeah, I prefer the City defensive double up to the Chelsea defensive double up after this week. Yeah,
I tend to agree with it. I also can't work out who's going to play for Chelsea. Imagine saying that. I can't. I'm not sure I can work out who's for City half the time. Another 1 week punt. Ali Sufyan. Alonso, Gallagher, Lukaku. This looks like options. Alonso, Gallagher, Lukaku, or Alonso, Sarr, and Vardy, or Reguilon, Sarr, and Lukaku, or Martial, Sarr, and Lukaku for a 1 week punt. Who's going to score the most here? Guys, get in the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell us which one, because it's going to take me a minute to think about this. So you also get into this chat and tell us. Is it 1, Alonso, Gallagher, Lukaku, 2, Alonso, Sarr, and Vardy, 3, Reguilon, Sarr, and Lukaku, or 4, Martial, Sarr, and Lukaku?
Ignatius says 4, Pavan says 1.
Yeah, 1.
That's a tough one. That's a good question.
It really is. Who do I like? The one which I'm drawn to, I think, is number 2.
That's a good one. I like 2 a lot.
That's the one I think I'm drawn to.
I'm drawn to that one as well. Most of the people in the chat are saying 4.
Yeah,
and I love 4 because Sarr and Lukaku. What I don't like about 4 is Marcel, despite the good fixture.
I think that's the thing which puts me off a little bit, because I've had, I mean, to be honest with you, I know I had Semedo and he's going to have to play, but, you know, you can just see bloody St. Maximin just popping up and knocking one in, right? That's what worries me about that.
You could get Duffy instead of Marcel, the guy that leads the Algo. Tops the Algo.
Oh, Loughton.
Of course, we have somebody mentioning a 5.
John's in. Hello, John.
John, I think that they would have suggested this if they could have afforded it.
They can't afford it.
Yeah.
Maybe they can't afford it. That's probably why it's not in the list. Yeah.
So I think the chat is mostly saying 4. I think we are saying 2.
And a few people starting to agree with us. Oh, there we go. We've got Burnley defenders starting to come in here now. Ignatius is like, this is the Tarkovsky trains on the tracks.
It's a train. It's a train full of laughter.
It has to be.
There it is. There it is.
Look, and here we go. Look, Sonaldo. Marshall is so bad.
He's so bad. So incredibly bad.
Right. Any other questions? We've just wrecked the whole chat. I can't find anything now.
6 Salah Lukaku mess.
Get off the screen. If there's another question from John, if you had a wild card, would you consider selling Salah for Lukaku? Salah probably only captain choice once in the next 6 game weeks, while Lukaku captain option in 5 out of 6. I did a rough thing, John. I'm sure I had Salah down 2 captain shouts in the next 6. And I think there was one week when I was a little bit unsure about which way I would go. I'd have to check back. Personally, I'm not taking Salah out. He's in the form of his life.
Yeah, it's a mistake to take a player who's in form, and also who's in a team who's in form, and also whose fixtures are still good. I think Salah it rivals Lukaku for captaincy in almost all of those fixtures, just because of his form, and I think the captaincy metric certainly supports that. So Salah seems like a season keeper at this point in time for me.
Yeah. Absolutely. The few questions about what do we think about St. Maximin that's already come up in the chat in the main show, so do check that out. Aspilicueta.
Dave.
Boring. But is it effective? Is it boringly effective? Or are we going to see him even get rotated?
What he should be 5.5. What turns me off is that price for very little attacking potential.
He is expensive, isn't he?
I think for if you're looking at 6, if when I'm looking at that price tag, I want the Cancelos of the world.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the question from Thavindra Raj. Having TAA for the question for the chat. Well, I'll put it on the screen, mate. Who cares? Having TAA, Greenwood, and Jota, I have 2 free transfers. Would you suggest to take a -4 to get some funds? Some punts.
Careful.
That could have been a lot worse before the wild card. But I mean, I've got no problem in having a bit of a gamble. If you're looking at taking a -4 and it includes Trent going to a playing premium defender, I've got no problem. I could argue that Greenwood would start. I could argue that Greenwood will not start. You know, he's in good form. He's pretty nailed, but he's just played 89 minutes. Jota, again, you could argue he starts. You could argue he doesn't. Both of those are flashing warning signs at me. I know that. But who would you bring in, Gabe? Rafinha? Rudiger?
Yeah. Chelsea defender. Sar.
Rafinha.
And Rafinha. Yeah. Chelsea defender, Sar, Rafinha.
If you have any gamble.
Some good upside stuff that should make your game week fun.
I'm a bit upside chasing. I've skipped your question. Hang on, here we go. Sorry, mate. What should Adama owners do? Go out and buy some oil. Become him.
Embrace him.
Embrace him. Get covered in oil, embracing him.
Potence was so bad. You have to hold.
Is he gonna? You said he might start this week, didn't you?
I almost raged
or what? I don't know.
I almost raged him out, but Potence was so bad that he's a hold for me. At least for one more game week. B1 with the baby oil.
Yeah. B1 with the baby oil.
Eric Castillo.
Other people just pray. I think we might all have to. I think that'll do us, won't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, 1 hour 56. We're gonna have to get out of here. We've been on for ages. You've got an extra day to listen to it anyway, which is the main thing. Guys, thank you very, very much for the active chat which we've had today. It's been excellent. There's been all sorts of fun and games going on in there. I'm sure. I think Baker's got a clip for me, which a short clip might well be played to death over the next few weeks, but who knows? I haven't really said hit that like button, but please do hit that like button if you haven't already. Please hit subscribe. Please get name addressed as Ali G next Friday night in the UK, Saturday morning in Singapore. And I think, Gabe, I just want to say thank you for coming on at 5:30 again in the morning in Phoenix, Arizona. And thank you for coming on, mate. It's always appreciated. From my side, it's something like 10 o'clock at night at Singapore. I'm going to go and lay in a darkened room and try and figure out what the hell I'm going to do with my team this week. I hope this has been useful. We are Net That Haul, and we want you to net that haul, and we wish you every success for the week. All the best, guys. Take care. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.